So this week's parshat is Pinchas, and in the parsha of Pinchas, it speaks about someone whose name was Slavchad. Slavchad was one of the Jews, and he died in this week's parsha. In this Torah portion, he died, and right then they had to decide who's going to get his inheritance. So it says that the daughters of Slavchad, they came and they said, maybe we can have a share in the inheritance. That's the beginning of chapter 27. It states, the first verse, that the Kravna of Night Slavchad, that the daughters of Slavchad came close. And they said, we want to know what the ruling is. We have these 5 daughters, Machla, Noya, Chagla, Milka, V'Sirtza. And they wanted to know, right in verse 3, it says that they said our father died in the wilderness here, and he wasn't able to continue on into Israel. And now we want to know, in verse 4 they said, who is going to get his inheritance? Because based on that there was no sons, there was only 5 daughters. So we know, right, the son is usually first to get the portion. So they asked, can we have a portion now that there's no sons? Can we inherit our father's portion? That was the question that they asked. And based on that, they were the ones that merited, because they went ahead and they asked. So the next portion, verse 8, 7, 8, 9, that was all in their merit that it was stated right now, which means they brought it about to be said. So on that it says that Moshe went to Hashem, and I believe it says over here that he forgot the halacha, so he forgot what the halacha was, and a certain case over there. And it also says that the reason could be because they should merit that it should be said through them, these daughters of Slavchad, because they tried, they worked, they loved Israel, and they were trying to see what the halacha is, so they went to the rabbi and they merited it was written through their hands. Okay, so he went to Hashem and he was confident he would get what the ruling was, and in verse 6 and 7 it said, yes, the daughters of Slavchad are saying a good point, and therefore they should get a part of the inheritance among their the brother of the father, which means there were no sons. Slavchad only left over a brother. Okay, and then it says in verse 8, Vel b'nei Yisrael tedaber leimar, and to the Jews you should speak, saying, Ish ki amos, that if a man will die, ubein ein loy, if a man dies and he doesn't have any sons, v'havartem es nachalasa lebita, then the inheritance goes down, it passes through to the daughter, which means at first it goes to the sons, and if there's no sons, then it goes to the daughters. And on that it says further, it says in the next verse, Vim ein loy bas, and if there's no daughters, then the inheritance will go to the brother of the father. And if in verse 10 it says if he doesn't have any brothers, then it goes to his brother of his father.
All these people who are inheriting, they have the responsibility to look after his wife who doesn't inherit.
Now, the wife, there is a portion which goes to the wife, that she gets a tenth, I believe, of the tenth of the inheritance for her support.
His brother should.
She has to be sustained from the family.
Yeah.
I think his brother has to sustain her. The uncle.
Yes. Now, what comes into us here is it's interesting, by the way. You'll notice the order is first they go to the sons. The next verse says it goes then to the daughters. If there's no daughters, it goes to the next step would be the brother of the father. So the obvious question is, what happened to the father? Right? Verse. Look inside how the pasuk the verse states. Verse 8 it says first it goes to. Well, first he should have a son. If he doesn't have a son, it goes to the daughter. Verse 9, if he doesn't have a daughter, it goes to the brother of the father. And if he doesn't have any brothers, then it goes to the father of the deceased, to his brother, to the father's brother. And if he doesn't have any, if the deceased doesn't have any uncles, then you give it to the closest relative around. And he will inherit him, and that will be the laws. So the first question is, what happened to the father's father? The father's father is before the father's brother. The father's father and the father's brother? No.
If he gives to his brother, his brother's father is the same as his father.
The deceased's father is cut out, apparently.
Yeah, so I'm saying let's take the classical case
But
of
if
the
his deceased brother has the same father as the deceased, because they're breast by their brothers.
Yes.
They
Right.
have different
Yes.
mothers.
Let's say yes. But the brother comes before the father. The deceased brother comes first. Then comes the deceased father. But the funny thing is, there's no verse here stating that fact of the deceased father being the inheritor after, if there's no brothers to the deceased. It skips. It goes straight to the case of the deceased uncle. Yeah. Whatever it is. This is a very strange order, right? The verses here. So our sages learn out here that, you see here even how it says here at number 9, that we learn out that the father's right to inheritance is second only to the husband and the children. So it's true. Although it's not in the verse, we do learn out that the father will be father's right there, right after, if there's no children, or any brothers. Could be he would even be before the brothers. Yeah. Could be that he would even be before any brothers. He would be right on the totem pole, right after the children, or if it's a lady who dies, her father, her husband, children, husband, and then father. Then it would go to the brother. So that's what no, so it could be the husband would be first. That's interesting. Interesting. We're going to see the verse. We'll look up these rules here inside. But that's the basic laws here. So now, based on this, the chinuch, when he brings these mitzvahs, he calls this mitzvah number tough. Mitzvah number tough. Not tough. Not a tough mitzvah. But it's a tough. It's letter tough. Letter tough is numerical value.
21?
No?
600.
No, 600 is, he's thinking of Taryag, there are 613 mitzvahs, but that's tough ratio gimel. But a tough is 400.
400, I know.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's kuf is 100. Reish is 200. Because it's kuf is 100, reish is 200, shin is 300, tough is the last one, 400. So tough, this is a mitzvah tough. And the amount of mitzvahs we have in the Torah is Taryag. Tough reish is 400 and 200, 600. Yud is 10, and Gimel is 3. So that's 613 mitzvahs. And therefore, that's what we say, Torah Siva Lanu Moshe. That we said Hashem told us, Moshe commanded us the Torah. What does that mean, Torah? Torah is, Taf is 400, right. Vav is 6. That's 6. So that's 406. Reish is now another 200. That's 606. And Hey is 5. That's 611. So why say Torah Tziva Lanu Moshe? It should be Torah and a base. Ba Torah. It should say with 613. So what's the answer to that? Why does it only say 600?
First two.
Why does it only say 611?
Torah Tziva Lanu Moshe means Torah that was commanded by Moshe, but the first two commandments was by Hashem.
At Har Sinai we heard 2 commandments straight from Hashem's mouth. Right? I am Hashem and you shouldn't have any other gods. Therefore Moshe only commanded us the rest of the mitzvahs, 611. So therefore Torah, he commanded us Torah 611, the other 2 were straight from God. So number 400 is this mitzvah, is the mitzvah that we are commanded to, first of all, do an inheritance and judge it and have it done the right way according to the mitzvah of the Torah. And what is that? That is what the verse states right here in verse 8. It says in verse 8 that if a man will die and he will, if he has a son, it goes to the sons. If he doesn't have a son, it goes to the daughter, etc., etc., and up till the last verse where it says that this is the statute of the judgment, the decree of justice that Hashem commanded Moshe. Therefore, this is a mitzvah from the Torah. Now, the Chinuch does go in to say that it doesn't mean that there's a special mitzvah that a person should have some money, should leave over some money special to give over for the inheritance. Rather, all he explains here that it means that whatever money's left, this is the order that it goes into.
Okay. So, 4, therefore.
Yeah. It's just saying that when a person will leave the world, so now this is the way that it goes down. This is the way that the inheritance will keep on going. Now, in terms of, just to give an idea, just the overview of the reason and a little bit of the laws before we get into the question here. The first thing is that because this is the mitzvah, a person has to keep to this mitzvah, right? A person has to make sure not to go against the mitzvah. And how would it, right? It could cause a lot of different fights. There's a lot of different issues that come up in this mitzvah. Number one is there's also a special mitzvah that is tied into this. The firstborn boy gets a double portion. That we once mentioned that a firstborn boy, right, is a bachar, right? You never know, right? We spoke about Pidyon Ben a few weeks ago. You have a boy, firstborn baby is a boy, so that baby is a bachar, and he would get a double portion in inheritance. Now, the other idea is, but if there are sons, then the daughter will not get an inheritance. So there are many different responses written about how a person can get around this. Let's say someone has daughters, so they want to give their daughters some of their money. So, but once a person dies, the halacha, the mitzvah kicks in, and he has a mitzvah to give it. It goes straight, goes to the sons. So there are different questions of how to get around that. If maybe he could give it while he's living. There's different ways to get it. Right.
Write a will.
Now the question is, but what would the will do?
It'll supersede the halacha.
How could it supersede the halacha?
Because it's the intent, it's the will of the deceased. This is what he wants it to do.
Then it might go contrary against the
It doesn't have to be irrelevant. So then the question is a violation of the Torah.
But here you have a mitzvah from the Torah. The Torah states, verse 8, that you should be careful to give it.
Who exactly is the mitzvah on? The deceased, he can do a mitzvah.
That's a good question also. Who is the question on? So the
What if the daughters are evil to the father? And he was like, well, there's a reason why I don't want you to have.
Well, one second. One question at a time. Hold on to your questions. The first question that Irving wants to know is, who is the mitzvah on? Is the mitzvah on the deceased, which is not possible, which is not alive? Is the mitzvah on Bezdin? Maybe it's on the court. Maybe the court has a mitzvah. So I'll read to you what I saw here. Yeah, so I did see here brought down that the mitzvah is...
It's on the family.
I think it's on the... Yeah, it's on the... I believe I have to see exactly where I just saw this.
So what happens is...
What would the possibilities be on the family
still the
community?
Yeah, or on the court. Or on the court. I have to see where that is. I think it's for sure on the family. It's on the family. And nobody, it would also be on such a case. On a father. And the father says, I want my daughters to have a part of my inheritance. And he makes a will. So I'll read you here clearly. That would be going against the Torah. Let me read you how he says it right over here. he says, if someone, right, the order would be, because the order is this, so if someone says, I don't want my children, my boys to inherit me. Or he says, I want a stranger to inherit with me. Or I want my son not to inherit. Or I want my daughter to inherit in the place when there's sons. His words mean nothing. The first thing is the words don't mean anything because the Torah says that's not how it goes. So that's the way it passes down is the prescribed order that we have in these verses. So the prescription is sons, no sons, daughters, no daughters, father, his father, brothers, father's brothers. But being that that's a prescription, so that's how it goes, like it or not. Now, if a person says, I still want to make a will, so it seems that he would be going against the Torah, even though it won't work. It will not work. Because he can't, the words of the chinuch is, it's not in his hands to uproot the word of God.
This is where I know where you can make a will without violating each. Right? Let's say you have 3 sons, and you have a piece of land, a square piece of land that is exactly 100 square acres. Okay. Now, one son's going to get 50% of the land. He's getting a double portion. The other 2 sons are going to get 25%, right?
So now,
okay. Now the argument is,
let me just say that
you have a square piece of land,
right.
100 square acres.
Right.
So there's 3 sons. One son's getting a double portion, so he's getting 50%. The other 2 are getting 25% each.
66%.
So they're going to divide, right? With the way they do it, by the way, with the firstborn. Just to say that case, the case would be however many children there are. So being that the firstborn gets a double portion, you'll divide into 1 portion more. So if there are 3 kids, you divide it into 4, and he gets 2 portions.
Okay, so he's right in this example.
So your example is perfect.
Okay, so now, the kids could argue over what portion. I want the north half of the field. The other ones know that you can have the double portion of the south half of the field. We want to split the north. You know what I mean? So you could fight over which of the portion of the field one gets. In a will, you can say, son, my firstborn son, he gets the north half. That son 2 and 3 get to split the south half of the field. Right? Because he's still.
I have a lawyer beside you. I can use his job right now.
You're saying it's different types of. I would take on a field.
You have one field, you split it up. What side of the field does one guy get?
Yeah, but usually it's equal. Usually it's split into equal.
It's not equal. Well,
equal portions of the field.
No, how do you know? Maybe it's in quadrants. I mean.
No, I think. Okay, I'm just taking on that. If you split a field, it'll be in 4 equal parts.
Maybe the Bilchor has his choice too.
Okay, you're talking about from end to end. Is that how they do it?
They split it up equally.
From end to end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's say.
But if you think,
they would have to do it in equal fashion. It has to be equal fashion for sure. Now I just remembered where I saw that.
But still, even if you do that, let's say one end of the field is all rocky, on the other end of the field is nice grass, good for growing. Who gets?
No, so they have to split it equally. So they're going to split it into equal, maybe in money.
The land might not still be equal. It doesn't matter. If you divide it in 4 pieces, all 4 aren't going to be exactly equal depending on the topography.
I hear. So
and there could be a battle royal just over that,
Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying. They might have to. They'll have to find a way to divide it equally. That's for sure.
You need a will.
That's for sure. Well, no, the will.
The will would just say that the firstborn gets 2 portions on this part of the deal.
I think the rabbi's saying opposite. If the will said that the firstborn, I don't like him, gets the half, but the bad half is useless. What he's saying is it has to be equal, double portion in value,
right?
Not in area.
You're going to have to split it in value, right? It's not going to be in value. It's not going to be in terms of where, like this. You'll have to divide it in terms of seeing the value and how to divide it.
If 1/4 was really all dry, then they all have to have a portion of that.
Okay. You'll have to see how to work it out. Yes, for sure. That's true. That's true. So I remember where I saw this idea, where you're asking who has the mitzvah. So here it states, it's in, I believe I saw it in Shulchan Aruch. Yeah, Shulchan Aruch, this is the idea that it states here all the, I think it was over here, in the Sma. Yeah. Okay. So now let's go back to the, so now this is the order. And therefore if a man says, I want to do inheritance like this and like this, it doesn't work because his words are, the words of God said that it shouldn't work. The words of God said that this is how the inheritance goes. But being that the fellow tried to make a inheritance go differently, he's going against the word of Hashem. And even that act of trying is going against this mitzvah. He will be transgressing the mitzvah of an inheritance, even though it won't work, right? It means it doesn't work. Now, they have all these types of ideas. It's a very interesting topic, how to get around this. Maybe, right, I'm not sure, what's a living will? What's a living will mean? Does that mean that they
if someone is incapacitated because they get in an accident, they can't. They're still alive, but they no longer have the inheritance. When they pull the plug.
No, but there could be such a thing that you could make like a condition that before the death he wants to give a present to the daughters. There could be different ways how to get around it, that it's not going against the Torah straight out. Right? That would be permitted to do. There are many different.
As soon as he's dead, it's over.
Yeah, as soon as he's dead, the Torah already states how it goes. It's already Vaha Varta. It says it will pass down in the way that the Torah prescribes.
Okay.
So therefore, that's the idea over here. Okay. Now, it says a little further here, just to give you an idea of his reason. He says the root of the mitzvah is that a person, right, he always gives like a little bit of a taste of the mitzvah, a taste of the reason, a little bit of a taste, is that a person should think and dwell upon the idea that Hashem is the master of the world and he is the director. He's directing everything and he's watching with divine providence on everyone. And it's with Hashem's divine providence that everyone gets exactly this amount of money and this field and this car. Everything is straight from Hashem. Whatever he got, it's all a present. Everything is a present from Hashem, which will continue on. Now, it would have continued on further, but now, right now that he dies, so his body leaves, but the present is still, Hashem still gave that family the present, right? He gave it to him, but who will it continue to? So he says that it continues to the son, to the daughter. Why? So he says that the reason he got this present, the reason every person gets any present, it's all from Hashem. It's with a reason, and it could be because he had a merit, because he did something good. He had a zechus. That's what he calls it, a good merit, and therefore, or maybe he had his parents. His parents gave him a merit, and therefore,
in any case.
It's the best thing is that his close relatives should be the ones that they could also enjoy this.
If it doesn't go to the daughters if they're sons, and that's probably based on the fact that the daughter should be married off and taken care of by her husband. Is that the full out
he doesn't speak about it.
Are the sons obligated to take care of the welfare of their sisters? That's by a financial thing if they don't get married? Or?
So we'd have to look into that. Yeah.
So there's no understanding of why they're not inherited?
No, so it doesn't speak about that. Yeah.
Because doesn't it say somewhere about a woman marrying in a different tribe and then the land goes back, or was that just in the or something?
No, what was the terms of the land?
Yeah, like the land, like if she marries outside of the land.
Yeah, so that's the preceding verses here was stating that she's gonna, if she would have gotten a land, if the daughters get land, let's say each tribe got a certain amount of land. So in Israel, so let's say you have this tribe getting this. Now it was divided up, by the way, but it wasn't in equal sizes because there was different types of families, different sizes of families. But imagine that the daughters would get an equal portion like let's say there are no sons, so the daughters get a portion of the land, and then in a different land you'll have the sons get a portion. Now the daughters, if they get married out of their tribe, so all of a sudden this tribe is not going to have any land left because it's all going to be going out to where the wife gets married. So that was the issue that came out over here, and what he told them was, we'll see what happened in the end, that they married in their tribe. They stayed in their tribe. Okay, so that's the first idea here. Now, in terms of, let's just read a little bit of the halacha here.
Same idea there. Like you're saying, it's a common form.
It's saying that it's just not everything that we understand.
Now, we said that now that there's no daughters, right? The daughters are second. He speaks out an interesting thing. What about if he left over a androgynous or a tumtum? Androgynous is, tumtum is, we don't know if he's a male or a female. That's the idea of a tumtum. Or an androgynous is, he has both symptoms, so we don't know, again, if he's a boy or a girl. So in that case, the Rambam writes that the son would get everything, because the son is for sure, and this androgynous is a question. So when you have a question, someone who's a question, someone who's for sure, the one who's for sure he wins out. So that's the first thing to know. I'm not sure that's so relevant nowadays that you have to, not sure if this is a common case, but it comes up every mitzvah. You have to know these two people, androgynous and a tumtum.
Even though it's like one who was such a case.
One in a million. Yeah, I'm not sure, but now
They talked about it back in then, so it's an amazing.
in terms of them, a tumtum that was covered over. So let's say it would be possible to find out if it rips, the skin rips, then we can find out what he would be.
How do you know it? What type?
Who, androgynous or a tumtum? A tumtum is we don't know, it's covered over, but we'll find out if it
I'm
rips.
pretty sure you didn't too. I'm pretty sure I didn't see it.
If the place where we can see his organ, we'll see if it's a male or
I don't know
female.
what that means.
I had the experience to see both,
For the Jews,
whereas he's a male and face is male and everything, but he has male and female parts.
Oh.
And I've seen female, typical female, but unfortunately she has a male part on the bottom.
Oh.
I've seen a life such a thing. So how would you divide between them who gets what? Like naturally born.
So that's called an androgynous. That's an androgynous. If a person will have both symptoms. Now, in a case where it's split, we'll have to think about it. That I don't know. That would be already an interesting case.
Are you a doctor?
No, I don't know. This was a weird situation.
Sure.
And it wasn't in this country. I never thought I will see an argument with a friend in different country, and he showed me it was special. I wouldn't say society, but kind of special. There were not. I'm from former Soviet Union. So those people, they don't kill them, but they isolate them pretty much.
The leper colony, but for
so he happens to be working there as a nurse, if you will, and half of the nurse, because they're not allowed to escape. And when I told it, such people, are you joking? It's okay, one day, one night, when it's my shift there, I'll call you, you'll come with me, and I'll show you that they're sleeping.
So even though the season
I couldn't sleep 2 weeks, 3 weeks after. But I've seen both. But the reason why I asked, because the male part is just beside the top of it, like he can, as he explained to me, he can reproduce. Like he can being with female, and female can have kids from him. Like just his top part is, and it's very seldom. Like that, one in 100 million. He has top and the bottom. Yeah, but
He might be. Maybe we'll consider him a man. Right?
Yeah, a man, and a female definitely cannot. Like it's a female but has a male part. She looks like a female, she everything, and those more common. Those like in that facility was quite a few of them.
So there you go. In case you.
That's why I asked, because I've seen.
The Torah writes, so there is right. That's called if they has both symptoms, that's an androgynous. That's androgynous. And every mitzvah, the Chinuch writes about it because he wants to. You have to clarify.
Does it mean when we don't know how to do it?
Now a tumtum means that it's covered over. There's a piece of skin that's blocking it, so you can't see if he's if it's a boy or girl. That would be the case. No, until it rips, until the skin will rip. That's a tumtum. That's a tumtum. Now, because that would be the difference in terms of he might be a little bit of a different halacha for him, because on him. Yeah, so we have to work out the logistics. He wants to say, okay, interesting how he calculates the half, that the half, maybe a half is half and half. So here he brings down clearly that if someone will say, I don't want my son to get a portion, so now he is going against the inheritance. And therefore what will happen is, that he's doing that's transgressing the Torah.
If the father says that.
Right. So it seems that the one
one son that he's a bad boy or whatever.
Right.
But he can't do that. Chip says he's got to have a peace.
Right. So that seems to be the idea here that the Shulchan Aruch is writing here, like you're saying. Exactly. That there's a mitzvah that it's on. Right. It seems to be on the father. Right, that he has the mitzvah to give it out to the right people. I believe that's how he's coming out.
Unconscious is somewhat irrational.
They're waking up, right? So and that's stay always.
Yeah. Now, there's another idea just in a little bit along the same lines. Now, it has to, in terms of the. I'll just read a little bit further how he says this in terms of the Bechor. Now the Bechor gets a double portion, right? The firstborn gets a double portion. It has to be a firstborn born from the mother. It has to be the firstborn from the mother, and it has to be what we call the Peter Recha. Peter Recha means it exited the stomach and exempted the stomach first. Right? That was the verse. It exempted the stomach first, and therefore, if the first baby is born by a C-section, that will not be a Bechor. That baby will not be a Bechor because it has to be a normal birth through the rechem, through the womb, through the birthing canal, right?
He's not considered a Bechor?
He's not a Bechor.
He's a Bechor, but he's not Peter Recha.
Well, in terms of Bechor, in terms of the double portion, he will not be a Bechor. He will not be a Bechor. And he will not have a pidyon ben. He will not have a pidyon ben, right? That's why it's very rare to have a pidyon ben. First of all, it has to be the firstborn child. That's a boy. It has to be a normal birth. Right?
So they don't count the C-section as being born?
Well, it's not. It has to come through the birth canal. And therefore, this is right. That's not.
We spoke about this a month ago.
Right. That was not. So you were here, right? You were here also. So that was on the parsha of Pidyon Ben, right? That was the mitzvah of Pidyon Ben, which was on the mitzvah. Right? It would be back in.
And
probably not about back a few Now, if there's a miscarriage, also, if there's a miscarriage, that baby that came out, or whatever came out, that was Poter Rechem. That was the one that exempted the...
10% of babies are very small.
Yeah. So, a Nafel, which what you're asking about, a miscarriage, that came out first. So So that will not be, obviously that will not survive, but the one that comes after it is not the firstborn. So on that, it's the same rule, that's Pidyon HaBen, and the same thing would be for inheritance. In terms of inheritance, if a C-section comes out, right, that one is not called ki valed. It has to be born through the birth canal, and therefore it will not, right? And the verse, you'll see the verse says it has to be born. So that's the first thing, right? That's a verse here in Vayivaled, yeah, V'yoldu. And the next one that comes out after that also won't be also will not be a Bachar, will not be the firstborn for inheritance, because that, again, it has to be, that's not the firstborn. That won't be the Bachar.
And
so you lose that on both sides.
And it should be firstborn of the father, not of the mother.
Well, it has to be.
No, what I'm, yeah, I understand it should be married, but
no, I understand. But I'm not.
In old times, you could have up to 4 wives.
Yeah.
So it's a firstborn of whatever wife firstborn. And again, if the first, let's say, if the first kid of the father was a girl from whatever wife it is, doesn't matter if the next wife born the boy, it's not a firstborn anymore.
Right, because it appears that it goes after the mother. Yeah.
So it should be the father's firstborn, as you said, in case of many wives.
But I think the main thing is the mother. Because you need to have the what we call the pet rechem,
Yeah, but again, that example, in the old times, it's the same thing, double portion applied in the times when Jews could have more than one wife.
Yeah, it's true. No, for sure.
No double portion, no 2 wives, but the 2 wives today, 2 wives situation.
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking. Is the firstborn of the whatever wife gave the first child and it happens to be a boy,
right?
We said it.
Or it's
the what? Both.
The father's firstborn and the mother's firstborn.
Right. Yeah, but which mother? That's the question of mother.
Every firstborn, no matter how you divide it.
No, but I could have, again, as I said, hypothetically,
the father
could have, the story with the one we read in Hannah, is Hannah. 2 wives. Well, there is no restoration, but actually was her for the firstborn, but the other wife had the children before, so now exactly, although her firstborn became a prophet, and well, he's a Levi anyway.
Oh, here we go.
But that's the situation.
So the answer to your question is, it has to be, in terms of the inheritance, it's the firstborn to the father. Firstborn to the father in terms of inheritance, because even if the mother had other children before, from let's say a different husband, but it has to be the firstborn to the father. That is the inheritance. He gets the second portion.
But from the first, whatever first wife gives the
and he says, and if you'll have the opposite case, if you'll have the mother giving birth, this is her first time, and it will be exempting her womb first. But the father already had a child, that will not be his bachar. Which leads us to the rule that we get, right, based on that, that's why a father has to be very careful to make sure that the bachar will be the firstborn that he has, his firstborn. Because if you look at a few weeks later down the line, it's a special mitzvah in the Torah not to give the firstborn to the baby, let's say he has 2 wives. So maybe he'll have one wife he likes better, and she's the second wife. So there's a mitzvah in the Torah
still give the double portion no matter.
To give the double portion.
Always like a second wife doesn't like that.
You should give it to the first wife who gave you your first son. It's bechor to the father. So that's right. That's very clear. That's in terms of this, which means in terms of Pidyon HaBen, it could be only in terms of the mother, right? That's why it could change. Each one is different.
So the father could have a few Pidyon.
No, the father. The father. Yes.
Yeah.
That I think
in case of the mother, I have 2 wives. I have 2 boys, firstborn from each wife. That's the case.
Right. Here we go. We had it in Parshas Korah. That's where we had the mitzvah Pidyon HaBen. Now here I want to show you exactly what you're saying here. That's a good question here. Yeah. The mitzvah is On every man to redeem from the Kohen a son, which is the Bechor to the mother, which exempted the mother's womb. So it comes out, it's split. In terms of the inheritance, it goes after the father. The firstborn of the father is called the firstborn.
Now it's a very interesting.
But in terms of the Pidyon Ben, it goes after the firstborn of the mother, because it's what exempted her womb.
But still, it's something after the father. A very good example is the Hannah. He was a Levi. So she had a Shmuel, who was her firstborn, but I don't think it was a Pidyon Ben because he's a son of the Levi, right?
Oh,
Levi
yeah, right.
It's a firstborn of the mother, but it still goes under the tribe of the father. So if
now that's
father is a Kohen or a Levi.
Yeah, a Kohen or a Levi doesn't make a Pidyon Ben, right? If someone's a Kohen, so he will be exempt from a Pidyon Ben or a Levi. That's another exemption that we have. That also comes up. But it's interesting the split that we're getting.
Yes.
Very good. So this is the split. The split is for inheritance. You go after the father. The firstborn of the father will be the double. We'll get the double portion. And in terms of Pidyon Ben, it goes after the mother. Whoever exempts the mother's stomach, Peter Rechem, her womb. Whoever exempts that will be the firstborn. That's the split.